Let's make a presentation on a profound question. Is it true, which we'll look at through a particular occasion. We'll occasion it, or we'll look at something that exists to give us the example which defines the question for us in one way or another. So E.M. Forster has said, everything must be like something. Is that true? The full statement he makes is, everything must be like something. What is this like? So we could see this question moves at the level of Aristotle's first law of thought, which is also, they refer to these three laws of thought in Aristotle's metaphysics as prima philosophia, or first philosophy, or sometimes in other ways. But we could also call that, in a Heideggerian context, metaphysics, and remembering that Heidegger has made a point of taking very seriously this finding of the fourth law of thought through Leibniz. There's a prolonged study, the highest study of it probably, besides, I shrink back from saying that just because immediately I think of Heidegger's own study of it, but possibly even better is Schopenhauer's fourfold work, his student work, because this is when the thing was most gripping to the Prussian Dasein, I think, when Schopenhauer wrote this exhibition of Kantianism, and in particular of this fourth law of thought, that of sufficient reason, or necessary reason. I'm not sure. So we don't have I'm not sure what the exact formulation should be, but nonetheless, that's why I give you these references, so you can go look at it further. Maybe it should be called necessary and sufficient reason. I don't know. But it's clear. I mean, the idea is just that something exists, and it must have a cause, and everything ought to be like that. So we have this question: everything must be like something. What is it like? And I suppose then in the law of necessary and sufficient reason, or however it should be stated, one could say the same. Everything must have a cause. What has caused this? I think Aristotle at one point says this, but then he kind of immediately forgets it, as one does sometimes with thoughts, and then in all the rest of his work he doesn't keep to it. Maybe he just, so it's like Aristotle considered the idea for a moment, but it didn't grip him, maybe. That's mentioned in the Schopenhauer study of the matter. So one idea I have here is that everything is like something with respect to personality. The difficulty I've had with the Dionysian personality, because the other ones are much more clear to me. So the Agamemnon and the Achilles type is very clear to me. That repeats itself all the time. Hercules, Theseus type are I can sort of see that. These are always repeating amongst human beings again, and since at least they're very visible to the archaic Greeks, and I can see them perfectly clearly. Jung has spent a lot of time on this, but Jung calls it by a different way. Jung didn't. That's what I think my advance over Jung is, so to speak, is the return to this mythos, because with Jung he tries to introduce his own ad hoc system, which is very interesting in some respects, but it's not as good as the Greek system. So the Jung has the introvert, extrovert, thinking type, intuition type, feeling type, sensation type. But that's his schema. It's not as good as I think, as the Olympian schema. But we should remember that the Olympian schema suffered a great depreciation around the time that philosophy rose up. Around 600 BC, probably it began. At the same time that the Iliad was written down by Pisistratus at Athens, are ordered to be so done. Yeah, the Dionysian type reminds me of this problem of must everything be like something? Because they say, the classical scholars say, Dionysius, the god, not the tyrant, is spelled differently, is the only god that has a mask for his face. So if you have a mask for your face, it means in a certain way you have no identity, you have no you're not a particular type. It's almost like you're this idea of the concept of the concept. It's almost like you're the exit door from the whole thing. So that's a kind of example of how the principle of identity could possibly not be accurate.